Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today is day 82 of devotions out of this devotional book right here. Let's get started. The Lord is good, a refuge in times of trouble. He cares for those who trust in him. Nahum 1:7. The word refuge can bring to mind some cool pictures. A lighthouse and a stormy sea, a warm cabin and a blizzard, maybe even a dwelling burrowed into the side of a hill, like a hobbit hole. A refuge is a safe, secure place, especially when everything outside isn't so safe, whether from a rolling sea, a deluge of snow, or orcs. God is our ultimate refuge. When we're experiencing low points, whether they're short lived or a longer term trial, we can take refuge in God's goodness. He is our safe place, like a lighthouse protecting us from battering waves, or a cozy cabin sheltering us from swirling snow, or yes, even a snug hobbit hole guarding us from orcs on the hunt. Sometimes our troubles feel like the most like those bloodthirsty orcs. But when we trust in God, He promises to see us through the dark times, to care for us and make sure we know we're not forgotten. Hide in Him as your refuge. Let God be your ultimate safe place. I think everybody can feel that. Um, Everybody has those points in life where they feel like they feel afraid and they don't feel safe and they feel like harm's gonna come their way, and you feel like no one's there to protect you, and you got it all on your own, and you feel like you have to go through this by yourself and you have to take your own refuge, and you have no one there to back you up. I get it. I get how that feels. I really do get how that feels because I've had those moments. Everybody goes through those parts in their life. And right now, that's what I'm going through right now. Can I do some prayer on that? Could use some prayer on that. Especially about the whole bullying situation that is actually occurring right now in school. So I really could use some prayer because this has been going on since my sophomore year, and it's it's still occurring, and it's not stopping, and it should stop, and those people should stop bullying me, but they won't. So I could really use some prayer because when it comes to refuge, I just don't feel safe going in that school. I don't feel like anyone has my back. Because, like, whenever I would go to any of the principals, the vice principals, or the counselors, they would do nothing about it. They would do absolutely nothing about it. All they would do is those circles, or they talk about the problem, which never really helped. They kept doing the circles, and the drama just got worse. In fact, it just made the drama worse. And they did absolutely nothing about it other than that. They didn't really do anything about it otherwise. They didn't, like, step in and take into action, like, expel them, or, like, tell them if they don't do this, then they can't go back to school or something like that. I don't know. But this has been going on for 2 years, and it's gotta stop. I want to have a great senior year. I don't want to have a senior year full of drama or bullying or any of that stuff I went through my sophomore year. It'll just bring back everything that happened in my sophomore year, and it might actually occur all over again. And I don't want that. How depressed I was. I don't want that, and I'm sure nobody wants that for me. But speaking of that, I need God's refuge. I need God's refuge. Not my own refuge, but I need God's refuge. And this doesn't just apply to me, but applies to everyone else who's watching this devotional. I don't know if anybody's gone through the same thing I've gone through right now. But even though I'm still going through it right now, I kind of feel like God wants me to preach this. You are never alone. You are never alone in what you go through. In fact, everybody is walking beside you with what you're going through right now. Even God is. God's walking beside you every single day, whatever you're going through. And you can take into God's refuge. God is refuge in times of trouble. He is a refuge you can take in times of trouble whenever you go through hard times. Whenever you feel like you have no one to back you up. Whenever you feel all alone. All those situations. You can go to God no matter what. And you know God's going to back you up. You know God is going to be there for you when no one else is. You know God's going to be there when everyone walks out of your life. He's going to be the last one standing there with you. But just know this. He's never going to leave you nor forsake you. He's not the God that's going to leave you when you need them the most. In fact, He's going to be there when you need them most. He's going to be there in your good and bad days. I've learned that, and it took me a long time for me to actually process this, and I know I might do the same for you. But I wanted to remind you that. When we trust in God, He promises to see us through the dark times and to care for us and make sure we know we're not forgotten. So, we need to hide in Him as our refuge, and we need to let God be our ultimate safe place. We need to let God in. We need to let God in and not push God away when we're going through something very, very hard. Don't push God away. Don't push God away. Instead, let God in. Let God work in you. Let God use you. Let God heal your heart. Let God heal you completely. Let God be there for you instead of pushing Him away. God has loved you since day one. In fact, He's loved you even when you were being created. And He still loves you to this day. Nothing will ever change that. In fact, whether the hard time is a little situation or a big situation or in between situation, just know God's got your back. God's got you. And you're not going to ever have to face anything alone. God's fighting your battles, in fact, right now. And God is going to take care of you. No matter what mistakes you make, God's going to still want to be in your life. So, all I gotta say is just trust in God. Let God in. Let God use you and work in you and heal you. Depend on God as your refuge. Let God hide in you as your refuge. And let God protect you. Let God be the God that He's supposed to be in your life. Don't push Him away. Because what do you expect? You're not going to be able to go through a hard time by yourself. You're never going to be able to go through life without God. In fact, you're going to realize you need Him and want Him even more in your life than ever once you do that. And I've done that. I've been there, and I don't want you going on the same road I did. That road was horrible. I tried going through the same bullying situation in my life without God. I tried. But I just felt even worse. I felt very depressed, and I always had anxiety. In fact, my depression was very bad. I don't want you going down the road that I did. It was horrible. And I don't like talking about it, but it's almost what I'm going through in this year already, even though I just started my senior year. I don't want to look back on that. In fact, that was the worst year of my life, and I don't want to look back on that. There's a lot of things that happened than just getting bullied and having bad depression and anxiety. There's a lot more that happened. And I don't want that happening in my senior year, but you gotta look in the bright side of life. Look at what the things you do have now that are good. Like, what has God blessed you in your life that you have now still that is good? You don't look at the blessings and not look at the negatives of what has happened in your life. That's horrible. That's so easy for all Christians to do. But we shouldn't do that. Instead, we need to focus on God, and we need to depend on God, and we need to also make sure God's a priority. Because we tend to forget that a lot. But I want to remind you again, make God a priority. If you really want to have a relationship with God, you got to make God a priority every day. Not just on Wednesdays and Sundays, but every day. You got to make some personal time with God. So, I believe that's all I have for you today. But I hope you enjoy this devotional. I hope God spoke to you. Stay tuned for next devotional. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, turn those notifications, stay tuned for all my videos. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.